life. I determine what I'm doing. And that flows from this idea of being like, no, this is what I want, how I want to do it. This is not a negative thing. Let's talk about this a little bit. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? I've been talking. Bree, talk to us. Do you understand this?
I think so.
In your experience of artists, do they have a sense of that freedom?
That, like, they order their world? Yes.
Can you tell us any stories?
They have their vision, and like even just in their houses or whatever, with their art and their plants and their whatever, the way they order everything, it all has a place, and if you put it out of place, not that like they get all bent out of shape about it, but they, I don't know.
I know someone, and she designs sets and like for plays and stuff, and she like comes up with these ideas that like no one else would think of, and they're beautiful. And but like when you watch her, like I've watched her work, and it's just like so precise and so like, and you just wouldn't interrupt her. Like she just does it, and yeah, it's a specific way, and you'd ruin it if you tried to tell her to do it another way. No one tells her to do it another way.
Yeah. There's a line from Amadeus. You guys seen the movie Amadeus? Mm-hmm. That's a movie. Like, I have so many movies I'd love to share with you, but it's a really good one. In Amadeus, there's a line where there's a guy who's jealous of Mozart. So Mozart's Amadeus, and there's a guy who's jealous about him, and he said his melodic lines is his voice. So Mozart's playing the piano, and he's got a voiceover. His melodic lines were so perfect that if you would remove one note, the entire phrase would fall. And then it's like, it's true. That's the necessity. It's almost like the more that you find the one thing that needs to be there, and then you make it, the more focused and like dependent everything is upon one tension point, the more that the thing is just genius. It's really cool. Okay, so this enables, though, the artist to be really strong. A person who doesn't know what to do is a bad worker. A person who doesn't know what to do is a bad artist. It's not because they're really nice that you hire them. They could be really nice. I'm not hiring a friend. I'm hiring someone who can figure it out. And therefore, you have to have this ability of saying, number one, yep, there's many ways to do it. And number two, this is the way that must be done. To that, you have to give your worker a certain amount of freedom. This is why we hate micromanagers. Because a micromanager, you hired me to work, but you're not letting me work. I have a different way of doing it. Okay? All right. So the confusion comes when you take those two senses of freedom and you mix them up. So, on the one hand, in your ethical life, ethics trumps art in terms of importance. Why? Because our ultimate end is ethical and not artistic. Teleology. What word does teleology come from in Greek?
Telos.
Nice. Meaning end goal. So once I say that the point of my life is found by an ethical action and not an artistic action, then ethics trumps art in terms of importance. And this means that I have to obey ethical freedom more than artistic. And ethical freedom means that the one whom I causes my reflection about what I should do. That's ethics. In art, what I want to create allows me to do what it takes to create it. There's a movie that came out that I don't recommend. We own it. I know that Fred wants to watch it. The Big Short. Don't recommend it, never will recommend it. It's over here. Called The Big Short. I don't recommend it because it's extremely coarse, and you don't really need to watch it. Looks like it's not even there anymore. Well, there it is. The Big Short. So, I think it's a bad movie. I mean, it's garbage. Like it's garbage. But what it presents and what it talks about are people who allow the artistic vision of freedom to dictate their life. And the only redeeming quality of the movie is that it convinces you of the emptiness of that life. They all win. They all win by making tons of money. And only one guy in there demonstrates any kind of ethical reflection. And so he's kind of a hero in that. And the rest of them, it's just really sad. It's The Big Short. So again, don't even waste your time with it. It's just full of bad language and sexual innuendo and all that. But at the same time, it's an interesting message. And the message, when you watch it, you're just like, man, what an empty life. It's kind of cool that the final scene, when they finally make their payoff, and they get all the money, the stock market crashes, and these guys profit from it. So there's $21 trillion of money lost, but all of them became billionaires because they gambled on the fact that it would crash. So they are the heroes of the film because they saw what no one else saw. They took a big risk, And the final scene, when they make all their money, it's kind of cool. It's staged on the steps of a church with open doors. And they're all just sitting there kind of like, it's all over. Like, we made lots of money. And they're kind of like looking around, and there's a church behind them with open doors. And it's kind of like, I saw the symbolism. That was the only thing. If you confuse the two, and you live your life saying that what I want to do drives me, it allows me to do what it takes to create it, then I can kill children if it lets me become president of the United States. And it's okay.
This explains the mindset in the art culture.
And it's okay because I've confused the two. I've said that what matters in my life is that I live it. And so I'm really sincere about it. And I justify it by some sort of stupid thing about, it's my choice. Well, to say that it's my choice doesn't really make it right. But it does if you say that everything is right is what you do. Therefore, if you do it, it's right. Then it's got, if it's your choice, you got to do it. But it's really circular. The other way is to say, no, that has to be true in order for me to be free. So, but I don't want you to confuse the two. You live an ethical life. But when you're involved in art, you also have to allow that to be there. You don't micromanage people, you empower them. And you allow creative energies. And you also have to respect the freedom of the artist. Because if you just walk around being like, no, you could do it differently. Do it in this font. Do it in this font. You're going to crush the person. Because they're like, it had to be in this font. As for me, I'm not saying this font was chosen aléatoire. I didn't really care. So I'm glad to let someone who does care do it because it'll be a lot better. I just was like, oh, why be normal? But I didn't have true inspiration going. All right, let's say our prayers.